Samasta Janakalyane Niratham Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Satgurum Brahmavidvaram. One more bhajan, anybody? Yeah, go ahead.
Jaya Gurudevam Chinmayanandam Pranamamyaham Gurudevam Aharnisham. Jaya Gurudevam Chinmayanandam Pranamamyaham Gurudevam Aharnisham. Tamasaharakam Utsahavardakam Tamasaharakam Utsahavardakam Tapovanseshyam Tattvasvarupam Tapovanseshyam Tattvasvarupam. Jaya Gurudevam Chinmayanandam Pranamamyaham Gurudevam Aharnisham. Dharmodharakam Gita Pracharakam Dharmodharakam Gita Pracharakam Anandarupam Atmasvarupam Anandarupam Atmasvarupam. Jaya Gurudevam Chinmayanandam Pranamamyaham Gurudevam Aharnisham. Prema-hridainam Parama-viraginam Prema-hridainam Parama-viraginam Sannyasinam Guru Sirasa Namamya. Sannyasinam Guru Sirasa Namamya. Jaya Gurudevam Chinmayanandam Pranamamyaham Gurudevam Aharnisham.
Chant the first 4 verses together. Gaganakaram Bodhakam Vibhu Namastehe Mahodade
Bhauchitra Vichitrasvam Niyudanasarahe Chandrakrodita Kshetrasvam Namastehe
Mahodade Udharanipam Tiraha Samsarad Andasagaram Visheshena Vishishtaya Namastehe Mahodade.
Matsya Kurmavarahadi Prasada Sadigargo Jnanaishwaryo
Udaranastvam.
Namaste Mahodade.
The last verse we discussed. Blessed indeed art thou, O ocean, for Lord Matsya, Kurma and Varaha chose thee as their abode. Out of the avatars, 3 of them were directly connected to the ocean. Blessed indeed are you, because you were taken as the abode. Now this is also more to think about. As we discussed, 70% of the earth is water. So naturally the expansion in the avatar has to be connected with it. chose thee as their abode to grant knowledge, wealth, and spiritual upliftment. Earth, symbolically, if you see, drowned in water, gets lifted up. Earth, even when we worship Vishnu, etc., they are dressed in blue and yellow. Yellow is the color of the matter, and blue is the color of the spirit. Matter and spirit together, clothed. So, earth is matter. There are people who get drowned into the materialism of the earth, worldliness. That needs to be, one has to be lifted up from there. Imagine even ignoring the world for personal greed, etc. What we are doing today. How much we have destroyed the earth. Something of this kind was never heard till 18th century. That the life on this planet is now debatable, questionable. How quickly, how much we have taken up to, in the language of progress, what we have done is we have come to a point where today to recover back, it has to be a Mahayajna. Mahayajna means everyone has to involve. Everyone has to contribute. Now, a question for each one of us to think. Let's say you go plant 25 trees. Is it duty or charity? Is it duty or charity? Duty, you understand? This is called Bhuta Yajna, like Rishi Yajna, where we have committed to preserve the knowledge, what the people have given us, the Vedic culture. Similarly, Bhuta Yajna is a yajna where we need to protect the environment. In the 3rd chapter of the Gita, Krishna says, Parasparam Bhavayantaha. You take care of the devas, they will in turn take care of you, Parasparam. You support them and they will support you. This way may you live and attain the highest. By you taking care of the devas, devas in turn will take care of you. Devas are very clear. Varuna Deva, Agni Deva, Vayu Deva, phenomenal forces. In short, you take care of earth, you take care of nature, nature in turn will take care of you. So that way there are times when our greed gets us completely rooted to materialism and one doesn't think anything beyond matter. That's why it is also very symbolic. Hanuman burning Lanka is Hanuman burning the worldliness. The worldliness which has surrounded the jiva has to be burnt. So Hanuman goes there, burns it up, is a poetic indication. A lot of poetry has come from that particular act. I'm not doubting the actual burning of Lanka. I'm not debating on that, but I'm saying, but how many people who came after that did attribute that burning of Lanka to the worldliness in us needs to be burnt. World is not a problem. That worldliness which exists in our mind, the materialism which is there in our mind, that needs to be burnt. Similarly, when we are drowned in that, we need someone who lifts it up. So that is what we saw in the last verse. Moving further.
Krishna Chitaniketasvam, Krishna Chitaniketasvam, Krishna Chitaniketasvam,
Krishna Chitaniketasvam,
Rama Setu सहायकः
रामसेतु सहायकः
रामसेतु सहायकः
रामसेतु सहायकः
सदाशिवप्रसादस्त्वं
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 नमस्ते महोदये
नमस्ते महोदये
नमस्ते महोदये
नमस्ते महोदये
कृष्णचिदनिकेतस्त्वं
रामसेतु सहायकः सदाशिवप्रसादस्त्वं नमस्ते महोदये.
He says here, the shores become thy favorite of Lord Krishna. Krishna Chitta Niketa, Niketa, house, home. Krishna was born in Mathura. And he built his city, a town in Dwaraka, where he moved from central India to the western side. And Dwaraka is almost like a city built on a reclaimed land. So he moved to the shores. So even Lord Krishna chose the ocean as his abode. And even if you see Bhagavad Gita, the next verse talks about it, where he has referred so many examples connected to the ocean, even talking about man of perfection, etc. So for him, ocean must have been a great, like he must have cherished being in the ocean. Towards the end also, Adishesha walks off into the sea only, and Krishna was also sitting there in Dwaraka at the coast. So Krishna chose Dhai as his abode, moved all the way from Mathura to stay there. And you were very helpful to Lord Ram. It is quite interesting. Ram wants to build the bridge, and it was not possible. The ocean could not give way. So he was, finally he has to demand the ocean to give way, and ocean said, this is against my dharma. I can't do it, it's not allowed. I don't have the right to do this. So then Ram agrees. Now this is so beautiful that if he wants, he can command something, but there he agrees and saying, what shall we do? So the thing would be like, I can float the stones you throw. That way it would become. So it's very poetic actually. And the ocean, a beautiful bridge was built between Sri Lanka and India, and which is historical, which is existing even today. If you fly across Rameshwaram to Colombo, you can see it. Now satellites have picked up images. Many scientists have done research on it, and they say it is the oldest man-made structure on earth which is existing. Now imagine this bridge which was built there. And if you go to Rameshwaram even today, there are one or two temples you have where they show a stone floating. And it's a kind of a coral. We have brought it once for our children's camp. We brought this huge coral which can float, and people wrote Sri Ram on it, and every child was writing, and the stone floats. Now it is really fascinating that Valmiki was aware of it. Imagine who was Valmiki? A dacoit, a hunter, a dacoit who lived in the forest. He transforms and then he describes not only Ram about various factors, and he talks about that. The monkeys went around, built, picked up these kind of corals, and they were floating, and the bridge was made. Basically, poetically, it was something which the ocean helped Ram to make the bridge. What is a bridge? You think of it. It is a connection. Ignorance to knowledge. Connection. So here, Sita is the Jiva, captured away by Ravana. Ravana, Dashamukha, 10 senses are outside. If you see Ramayana, it's so beautiful. Ram was born to Dasharatha. Dasharatha, one who had control over all the 10 senses, was in a land called Ayodhya. Ayodhya means no conflict. When 10 senses are under control, there would not be any conflict. When our 10 senses are disturbed, extrovert, there will be too much conflict. When there is no conflict, Ayodhya, no conflict. So that means the mind is still. Ram has to be born there. So Ram born in Ayodhya means born in Ayodhya, a land of no conflict where Dasharath was ruling, a person who had 10 senses under control. And then Ram was married to Sita, and where did Sita come from? Earth. So the Jiva and the Paramatma, that is the union, and the Jiva lost her way when the attention turned over the golden deer. When we turn extrovert, the monster takes us away. What is the monster? 10 senses. Takes us away. Now we are lost in the 10 senses, but Sita tried to turn back to Ram. Though she was carried away, her mind wanted to come back to Ram. That is the seeker's journey. Lost in it, and we are now yearning to get back to where we belong. So when that yearning was there, a bridge is required to connect. So a bridge was made where the Jiva, the Lord could connect to the Jiva and bring back. So here there is two different kinds of world, the world of senses and the world of spirituality. There is a bridge. So the ocean here helped Ram to make that kind of a connection. And the third point we are referring here is, thy shores became the favorite abode for Lord Krishna. He went and stayed there. Thine was the rare privilege of assisting Lord Ram in constructing the Setu. Thou hast the unfailing grace of Lord Shiva upon thee. Ocean, you are also blessed by Lord Shiva. Krishna chose you as an abode. You were fortunate to help Ram to build a bridge, and Lord Shiva's grace is upon you. In that Samudra Manthan, when the poison came, imagine the poison going into the ocean. And that was taken away by Lord Shiva. So otherwise, we could be lost and poison could kill us, and ocean would never be the same what it is. So you have your grace. For us also, we could be lost. How much of poison has gone in? Think. Through eyes, ears, nose, taste, touch, how much has gone in? Far away from the Lord. So there you need the Shiva, the person with that ability to destroy, can take away the poison. So the ocean was blessed with Lord Shiva. This is how your glory is. It's simply glorifying the ocean. Going into the next verse. Sthita Prajna.
स्थितप्रज्ञलक्षणस्त्वं
स्थितप्रज्ञलक्षणस्त्वं स्थितप्रज्ञलक्षणस्त्वं
ज्ञानवैराग्यकारकः
ज्ञानवैराग्यकारकः
ध्यानेऽप्यसायाः
सप्रदादाच
ध्यानेऽप्यसाया प्रदाता च
नमस्ते हे महोदधे नमस्ते हे महोदधे क्षणस्त्वं ज्ञानवैराग्यकार्यकः Qualities of Sthita Prajna. Now this is beautiful. The last portion of the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is called Sthita Prajna Lakshana. Sthita Prajna means a person who has attained the highest truth. So Arjuna asks a question to Krishna. How does a Sthita Prajna move around in this world? How does he respond to the world? When he lives here, how does he move around? How does he sit and talk, etc.? What are the characteristics of an enlightened person? Now that was the question. 18 verses, the last 18 verses, Krishna answers to this question. The qualities of man of realization, a person who has attained the truth. When he is giving this reference of these 18 verses, talking about qualities of Sthita Prajna, Krishna makes 3 references which are connected to ocean. In the Gita, in those 18 verses, he makes 3 references. One, he speaks about a tortoise. Kurmongani sarvashaha. A tortoise, when it is out from the water and when it walks, the moment slight disturbance around it, the tortoise has the ability to withdraw and stay safe in the shell. The hard shell is its protection, kavacha. So it withdraws and stays inside safely. And when everything is clear, the tortoise will come out. You can watch a tortoise. At distance, it feels a kind of a danger, it withdraws. And we should not talk about the tortoise which are trained in public places. You can't see this, the natural one. If you drop even little bit of sand, let us say the tortoise is some 50 feet away. You take little sand and you drop. The tortoise can feel it. That sensitive, it can feel it. So once it feels, it knows there is something there and it withdraws itself. All the 5 limbs, I mean the legs and the head and the tail, all goes inside the shell. Once it is inside the shell, it is safe. There is no threat to it. Because the shell is hard enough to take any kind of an attack. So the tortoise is safe inside the shell. And once the way is clear, there is nothing, the tortoise is sure about it, it comes and it goes. Krishna gives this example. He says, man of realization is like that. At his will, he can withdraw from anything. Stay inside. And then move out. Now think. How many things go inside us continuously and make impressions. Why is an advertisement repeated again and again? Why? The most famous person who is already someone who is very popular, he is made the brand ambassador of a product, and that would go on repeated again and again and again in different areas. When you're not with the product and that person, let us say, is an artist, an actor or a sports person, we also start seeing him in other places or start seeing her in other places apart from endorsement. That person keeps making deep impact in our mind, and then every time it makes an impact, you somehow deeply connect to that product. That's why they give, like high remunerations. They pay them very high for endorsement because that makes an impact in the mind. Now when we walk around, have you thought of how many things have gone inside? Something which goes again and again makes an impression inside the mind. After some time, you may want to buy it thinking it was your choice. It was not your choice. It was sent inside you, whether you like it or not. Pumped deep inside you, and it makes an impression. From there we ask. So when we walk in the world, we keep getting these sense stimuli continuously, goes inside and makes impressions, either through sight or through sound or through taste and touch and smell. Through the five senses, our mind is bombarded from the world outside. And we also keep falling into it. They all go in and make layer after layer impressions. And each impression is deep enough to become a desire, and then we want it. So tortoise is the example Krishna gives here, saying it walks at the sight of anything it knows to withdraw. So we need to develop this quality, that when we move into this world, various things will come. We should not allow it to go inside and make an impression. One of the ways to overcome desire. Let's say how we can practice tortoise, being a tortoise. It's like this. When next time you feel deep urge for a particular desire, that you want this, ask yourself, first question, do I need this? It's a very dangerous question. If you are honest, that question will reveal many factors. When a desire attacks you, ask yourself this question, do I need it? Question number one. Question number two, much more destructive question. If I get it, how long will I be happy with it? How long will I be happy? Because a desire makes us feel that I must have it, and if I have it, it is fulfilled. And I'll be happy. How long? Anything which you want, if you get it, how long will you be happy with it? This how long is a very important question, because the power of Maya is to create an illusion in the mind. Gaining this, I would remain happy. We never ask the question, how long? I would remain happy, but how long? So the second question, how long will you be happy? Third question, if I don't get it, what does it matter? If I don't get it, what happens? I didn't get it, so is that the end of the road? That a particular desire which I wanted, I did not get it. Does everything end there? So these three questions, if we are alert, when a desire comes, we have these three questions, then we are like a tortoise, withdrawn safe under the shell. second example in Sthita Prajna Lakshana he gives is, if a boat is not anchored, the wind will carry the boat away into the high seas. A boat has to be anchored, not just a boat, even a mighty ship, massive ship with heavy loads on it which is floating. If it is not anchored, the wind can carry it away. Similarly, if we don't have control over our senses, we could be carried away and we would be lost. So we need to have kind of a control over the senses. It is very, very important how much we anchor ourselves in knowledge. How much you anchor yourself in dharma. How much you anchor yourself in your commitment. This is important. Otherwise, you know what happens if I am not anchored in something, it is very easy for me to get distracted. Please check your anchor. How far are you anchored? You want to serve? How far are you anchored? Are you really anchored in service? Or is it a fancy thought? So how far are we committed to something? It all depends how deeply we are anchored, so that we are rooted to it and we do it well. Whether it is service, whether it is seeking. Are you a seeker? Are you anchored in seeking? Or just once in a while seeking? That is not correct. We will never get the Lord that way. Once in a while seeking is dangerous. It should be very intense. So how far are we anchored? So Krishna says that you should be anchored, otherwise a boat which gets carried away, so will the mind be lost, the jiva would be lost through the senses. Second example of the ocean. And the third example he gives is of the ocean itself directly. Here was a tortoise in the ocean, boat in the ocean. Now he says about the ocean itself. Apuryamanam achala pratishtam, where he says, ocean has the depth to take any amount of water poured into it. Any amount of water poured, the ocean has the depth to take. Just think how much of water must be entering into the ocean every second. Every millisecond, every moment. How much of water must be entering into the ocean every moment? It's a great lesson to learn from ocean. Ocean has the ability to take it. That's the strength of the ocean. Any amount, it has the ability to take. Are we having that strength? Anything coming on our way, are we able to take? Or how quickly we get shattered? Do we have the depth? Everything, imagine not just one river. The amount of rivers in the world, all the rivers in the world pouring itself into the ocean, and the ocean has the depth to take. Krishna says, wise man is like that. He compares it to ocean, saying ocean has this depth to take anything coming on its way. So does a wise person. Whatever comes, a person knows to take it. This is very important. What is your strength to take different experiences life offers? Or how quickly you break down? A person, Krishna says, a person who goes on desiring for various things in the world, he'll break down fast. With one desire not fulfilled, next desire not fulfilled, it leads to frustration. But someone who has transcended that has that depth to accommodate any amount of coming. Now you look at wise people. Was not Gurudev like an ocean? How much he could take? How much of load of work one could take? Little responsibilities, we are exhausted, isn't it? Little responsibilities, we are stressed. Little, small. And for him it was the amount of work he could take. The amount of letters he wrote, we are still collecting. 25 years have passed after his samadhi and the letters are still being collected. How much he must have written? How much, what was the vision? Maximum happiness. Imagine this one individual taking the load, still balanced and laughing away at life. Even 5% of that would have driven us crazy. We would have broken down long ago. One after another, center after center, people after people, work after work, responsibility. How much? One person. Ocean. When you watch him closely, you will understand the load he could take. You know what we call as a one day in his life? One day in his life. Most of his life was like this one day, which I'll describe now. Up by 3 or 3:30 in the morning. Daily. Up by 3 or... I have seen him very closely, so I know it. Up by 3 or 3:30 every morning. There would be certain letters which would be absolutely personal. It would be someone asking something which he probably would not even share it with the secretary. It could be organizational issues which needs to be certain confidentiality. So those kind of mails he'll first segregate. Reply it personally. Then there would be general questions, like which is not confidential, which can be discussed. He'll call the secretary and dictate to him. And this would start somewhere at 4:15 and go on till 5:45. He'll dictate everything. Because he will have this amount of mails to be cleared almost every day. Imagine 60 or 70 mails to be cleared every day. Do it. Then he comes out. Morning class would be most probably 6:30 to 7:30 in the morning. So he comes, goes for his talk, 6:30 to 7:30 or 7 to 8 sometimes, 1 hour morning lecture. And after that, if he is in that town, there could be a Chinmaya Vidyalaya school. He may have to go and attend the trust meeting of that school, or there is a trust there, he would attend. And have breakfast, go to somebody's house, bless that family, have breakfast there, come back. Then there could be one of these kind of meetings. Then there would be lunch. Again visit somebody's house. 365 days. You are a guest to somebody or other 3 times a day. Try it out for a week, I'll tell you. 21 guests you have, you visit. For a week. 365 days. How is next year? Same. How is year after that? Same. Towards the end we started having, because the demands were so much, and we started having high tea. One thing coming in between. Go out for lunch somewhere, the devotees will sit there, the Devi group or something, Paduka Puja, come back, rest for a very little while. When you come back after lunch, it could be probably 1:30 or 2. Rest probably till 3 maximum. The secretary will go with all the letters what he has written in the morning, which he has typed. He would read through it once again, then sign all of them. And that would take probably 4. Then he comes out and sits for a while with whoever is there, 4 to 5 or something, and then gets back, take a shower and all that, get ready and start for the evening lecture, which would start at 6:30. That means sometimes even by 5:30 he needs to leave, or 5:45 he has to leave, he'll go. Evening lecture gets over at 8 p.m. Then again from there to somebody's house. Finish that 9:30. Get back to the house where he's staying, or the ashram, come back. There would be some people, probably sit for half an hour or so, get back by 10:30. Next day begins again at 3 or 3:30. Day after day, year after year, this was his schedule. He could take it, he could be cheerful. He could be cheerful. You can take things like that and stay cheerful. Sthita prajna, capacity of the ocean. So Krishna gives that example, like how a wise man is like a ocean. So we have 3 examples of Sthita prajna lakshana, where we see here qualities of Sthita prajna, man of wisdom, are reflected in thee, and you are the bestower of knowledge, detachment, thou art also inspirer of contemplation. So bestower of knowledge, sitting and watching the expansion. Ocean, never attached to anything. See the level of detachment if you have to look at ocean. It comes to a shore, just keeps going, holding nothing, throws it back, And source of contemplation, like we were trying this morning. Sit there quietly. The vastness itself can get the mind into silence. And many people have sat there. If you see the shores across the world, there would be a lot of spiritual centers. How many temples are there at the shore? Across the coast, if you see. Because they are all places of great inspiration. It helps the mind to be contemplative. Vastness, everybody can't go to the Himalayas. That's a very different kind of an inspiration to go there and see Ganga and all that. But wherever one is, if you're near the coast, they have, because it's a great seat of calm and quiet mind. So it helps us to be contemplative. Okay, we will stop here. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.